Welcome to the Leverton on Everything podcast, where I, Leverton, review literally everything. That's the first rule. Second rule is that every review that I do is under 10 minutes, and today we're talking about The Marvels. I gave it 9 out of 10, and good for what it is. This is a fun romp. There are many things to criticize the MCU for, and this film certainly is not exempt from them. However, it has a sense of humor about it that is perfectly balanced with its plot. It's not a boring waste of time like the last Ant-Man movie, nor is it two separate movies pieced together like the last Thor movie. It is quite enjoyable. It does have a few problems, as I previously mentioned. The first problem is that the MCU is a victim of its own success. Kamala Khan is an interesting character, and seeing her family try to deal with a ridiculous situation is quite entertaining. But there are a lot of Marvel fans who just watch the movies. And if you just watch the movie, Kamala seems like an extra character added ridiculously to this Captain Marvel sequel. But it makes a lot of sense. Kamala is obsessed with Captain Marvel. Takes her name after Captain Marvel, so she's Miss Marvel, which means she is someone who looks up to Carol Danvers, as did her niece when she was little. The other problem is the Superman problem. Captain Marvel is MCU's equivalent of Superman, and like Superman, it is incredibly hard to create a compelling narrative about someone whose powers are so overwhelming. So in this film, the question that's asked is, what happens if you have the powers of a god and make mistakes? That plot is quite interesting, but it's a little overshadowed by the wackiness of the rest of the film, which, like I said, is quite enjoyable. So if you're on the fence about watching this film, give it a chance. Yeah, a lot of people did not agree with that review, but I think I think there's so The Marvels is actually one of the least financially successful Marvel movies of all time. And I just realized something incredibly stupid that might have been a reason for it. So, Captain Marvel's standalone movie was called Captain Marvel. And the other standalone, the other characters in the MCU that have standalone movies, their movies are usually called like, and Ant-Man's an exception, but they're usually like Thor, Ant-Man, Black Panther, Captain America, Iron Man, So you get what I'm saying. They have the literal name of the character in it. And I think some people who are not keyed into the Marvel cinematic universe, but they like going to see Marvel movies, might have been like, the Marvels? What's that? I really think that that is part of it. I think that it was review bombed because it had a brown character, and apparently nowadays you can't have a brown character because, ooh, that's woke, that's TI. It's so crazy. I really like the character of Kamala. She's a great character, and the uh, Miss Marvel is a great series actually. But yeah, so I think it's a combination of factors. It's like people who are big fans. There's some people who only watched the movie, so they didn't understand what Kamala was doing there. Although, as I said, it makes perfect sense for Kamala to be in this movie. And then they they didn't call it Captain Marvel 2, which is a shame. They could have called it Captain Marvel 2, and that would have been much better, a much better choice. Um, then also there is a lot of singing in this movie, which might be a bit much for two people, four people, but it's okay. It's a fun movie. Probably one of the more fun movies uh, that Marvel has released. Okay, but also I took my kids to this movie, and we had a good time. So maybe it's hard to separate your feelings about things when you have a good time with people watching them. I don't know. Anyway, I really liked it 9 out of 10. Another thing that I give 9 out of 10, my son and I, we have a podcast called the Everything and More Etc. podcast. It's awesome. You're awesome. Check it out. Bye.